Should I leave it on for Randy and then minimize afterward?
I can get in those my doors and then I'll announce it. That way it's already on.
Okay.
Randy's first. Oh, Randy's first. Yeah. It's a hologram.
Can everybody hear me? Good afternoon. Welcome to Webb Associates Riverside's office. We're very, very excited to host this event. I'm Sandy Chandler. I'm the Director of Land Development Planning and Entitlement here at Webb. I also serve the Inland Empire APA Board of Directors and the current subcommittee chair for Arts and Planning. I'm following the footsteps of Miguel Vasquez, and those are some big shoes to fill and to be able to match his passion for art. Our Arts and Planning Subcommittee, consisting of Miguel Vasquez, Ferris Hall, who's now Ferris Alone, she's on the online, and Cameron Cabos, are excited to present what we hope to be the first of many arts and planning events. Today, our planning series on building thriving communities, focusing on the Coachella Valley Association of Government Arts and Music Line project, as we discover how integrating art and culture into planning fosters identity, celebrates local culture, and improves safety, access, and quality of life. I would like to welcome our first presenter, Randall Bowman, a dedicated public servant with more than 38 years of experience serving cities across 3 states. Randy has held key leadership roles as city engineer and public works executive, helping communities of all sizes plan and deliver safer, more connected streets. In Ohio's state capital, he led major initiatives to create complete streets, enhance bikeability, and improve pedestrian access. And more recently, he's brought the same vision to Palm Desert. Today, Randy serves as the Assistant Director of Transportation at the Coachella Valley Association of Governments, where he's guiding long-range planning for broadband, transportation, and some of the region's most innovative projects, including the CVAG link and the Arts and Music Line. Randy is going to be having to sign off about 1 o'clock. So following his presentation, if there's any specific questions, please go ahead and ask at that time, just in case we run out of time. Randy?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you today. Our team of Dilesh and Chris and me, we've put together some slides here. I think we've got, all 3 of us have got a great story to tell, each from our own individual perspectives. So buckle up and settle in. And I hope this will be illuminating. And I did use that as an intentional pun, Chris, an illuminating conversation on what we think is just an incredible project that is brainchild of many people that here in the Coachella Valley. So with that, can we go to the slide number 2?
Yeah. It's a second.
Sure.
Right.
Very good. I am not going to repeat all the words on slides, but rather just focus on things that I think are highlights. Art, for all these good reasons and even more, is so important in our lives, in our culture, in our society. I think humanizes infrastructure certainly is a key phrase to a lot of us. I think some of the slides that I've got some examples of, and particularly those that Chris and Dilesh are going to provide, certainly help reinforce that art is an essential element to boring roadway projects because they help connect us both on foot, on bike, and certainly by car, but they connect us to the community and perhaps help make that commute, that trip that we need to make, that much more enjoyable, perhaps even give us a chance to think about something other than just getting from point A to point B. Next slide, please. I firmly believe that art is infrastructure. Communities throughout the country, throughout the world, make investments in public art to make statements, to beautify, to identify, and frankly, I think to make us think and take us out of our blinder situation when we're on the roads or walking along the street to help augment our enjoyment of life and being in our communities. I think site and context certainly is important. I was involved in a project that back in Ohio where a freeway, an urban freeway that was down in a trench, cut through back in the 50s, cut through an African-American community and separated that community from the downtown core. And when the state Department of Transportation came through to improve or replace the overpass bridge, the city worked with the state as well as, quite frankly, FHWA and the community to create a new bridge that celebrated the cultural diversity and history of that part of town. And when you drive across that bridge today, it has a cultural wall that local artists created that celebrates that history of art and jazz and music in that area. So art can be a healing element to a project as well. It certainly takes a village to build a project and to inform project design. So there's a lot of stakeholder involvement and community engagement that we do with projects. There's certainly every community, I've worked in plenty where there's a process for selecting artists and procuring them and ending up with fabulous installations that are owned and maintained by a community. But, you know, once you build it, you got to maintain it. And so you have to think about these elements that are installed in all weather conditions. How do we maintain them? Frankly, how do you protect them? I think some of our conversation today will be to illuminate, we put things near a road or maybe even in the middle of the road. And we need to think about safety, not only to protect the users of the roadway, but frankly, to protect the art pieces because they're precious. So there's a lot that goes into this. I would hope a lot of this makes sense to the folks that are watching the presentation today. Next slide, please. I'm just going to give kind of a wrap up and some examples of where art and engineering have intersected in my career. A lot of my career was spent in the Midwest and in Ohio. And so I think there's some great examples that I remember and recollect. Down at the bottom, one of the suburbs of Columbus invested in a substantial celebration of agricultural past and had a local artist, Malcolm Cochran, create, I think it was 144 of these concrete ears of corn to celebrate the agricultural past. And you might ask yourself, well, where does engineering come into that? Well, you don't want these things to fall over. And so being a freshly minted professional engineer with a license to practice, I actually designed the footers for the artist. And it was the first thing I really stamped in my career. And to date, none of them has fallen over. So I feel good about that. Then just moving around the horn, you're going to hear from me. Active transportation is in my DNA. It's in my blood. And to make not only infrastructure for biking, such as bike racks or wayfinding maps or parking spaces or shelters to protect your bicycle from the sun or from the rain. But how can you make those an artistic element for your community? Down at the bottom right is something you kind of buy off the rack, but we prettied it up with the help of graphic artists. And then in the middle, on the top, is a bike rack that was truly designed from scratch with artist involvement to celebrate. This is a shelter for bikes, so there's a fringe on the top. On either end of the shade structure, plus the top of the shade structure is sustainable. It's a drought tolerant green roof on the top of that. Won an award for that. And then the upper right, a College of Art and Design in Columbus, a great producer of folks that are skilled in art and graphic arts. They wanted to celebrate their presence, so they said, well, why don't we put a roadway feature, a gateway feature to our campus, which is centered on a public street. So art is actually art. And it was a fun project. You know, you can imagine some engineers are like, well, how close are the footers to the roadway, and are people going to have to duck underneath it? And what about dump trucks that leave their beds up? Are they going to hit the part of the art? So there were practical concerns that you have to account for that went into something that's just truly unique. Art that is actually art. I think that's both wonderful and hilarious. Let's go to the next slide. So more locally, after I moved to California, I worked for the city of Palm Desert for about 5 years, and we had a great art in public places program. Everything from printing up traffic signal cabinets. I'm sure you've seen these throughout Southern California. It's a great way to promote artistic expression, frequently by young students. I've seen a lot of that, and this is one way to pretty up and embrace, frankly, boring parts of our infrastructure. On El Paseo, it's the major shopping center in Palm Desert. We experimented with colorful crosswalks that embraced depictions of the desert flora, and we selected on in-street bike parking, and rather than just be galvanized steel, we used colored bike rack features to help celebrate and bring things together. It was a fun demonstration project. Next slide. Also in Palm Desert, we had our San Pablo project, which took a 4-lane roadway, frankly hostile to walkers and bikers, squeezed it down, did a road diet, put in a couple of roundabouts to get rid of some traffic signals, and as a part of that, we embraced the community. Again, you see a couple of bike racks in the upper left and the lower right that were designed by an artist. They were handcrafted and fabricated by the construction contractors, probably a subcontractor to them. Also, one of our roundabouts, we planned for the installation of public art that was selected following the project completion. A fabulous display of public art in the middle of a roundabout. We worked through issues of should it be breakaway? Should there be an errant vehicle that drives into the roundabout? And we also have lighting that shines at night. And how bright should the lights be? We don't want to distract drivers too much, but also we want to light the sculpture. So it was an effort that was a collaboration between professional engineers and structural engineers, electrical, as well as the artists themselves that brought it together. We had to avoid underground utilities because of the footers. So it was a design effort that was based on just an incredible concept. In the lower left are some artist designed colorful crosswalks. Palm Desert wanted to pretty up its crosswalks. And while engineers, traffic engineers particularly, we need to follow the manual and uniform traffic control devices, we do have opportunity to play within the lines, to color within the lines. And that's exactly what Palm Desert did. An award-winning project, and very proud to have been a part of that. Next slide, please. So I think this is one way to say that where art has a place, we all deserve a great place to live. Art can certainly help make that happen. This is a philosophy that we certainly want to incorporate in our projects, and I think the project that Dilesh and Chris are going to talk about specifically will illuminate that. Next slide. The project is in the eastern part of the Coachella Valley. It's what we call a community connector. So CVAG is wrapping up the construction of a 40-mile long multi-use path meant for walkers, joggers, bikers, as well as neighborhood electric vehicles. We call it the CV Link. And when the CV Link was planned 10 years ago, it was planned to have extensions into the communities to connect the communities to the CV Link. So if CV Link is the spine, the community connectors are ribs that bring everything together. And the Arts and Music Line is a collaboration between CVAG, 3 cities, a couple of tribes, and even the county to improve an existing transportation corridor, a roadway, by bringing better quality bicycle and active transportation infrastructure to a corridor. It serves disadvantaged communities, numerous schools, and is going to be an important east-west connection that provides 2 opportunities to hop onto the CV Link from the cities of Indio and Coachella and La Quinta, as well as some tribal jurisdiction in unincorporated county. We're excited to be working on this project. We've got a fabulous design team that is helping us do everything from design the lighting, the public art, the engineered infrastructure, as well as engaging the communities to educate them on new infrastructure for bikes that will be installed with the project, even helping us acquire necessary easements to accommodate the project where there's not enough right of way. So it's a heck of a project, and I can't wait to hear what the rest of the team says about it. Next slide. It's all based on a vision. Our executive director, he's been at CVAG for quite some time. Tom has just a great vision for not only the CV Link, but also these community connectors such as the Arts and Music Line. And he's been very clear all along. He doesn't expect these to be your typical multi-use paths. He wants them to help celebrate the Coachella Valley, our vibrancy, our history, our culture, and we think that we're advancing that even with the Arts and Music Line project. Next slide. And then lastly, I'll just wrap it up. A lot of engagement and outreach has been conducted for the Arts and Music Line project, and more is coming. Just something as simple as introducing a bicycle signal along the main corridor of the project. We don't want people to be surprised. We want people to know what those mean, how to use them, take advantage of them, frankly, and get out there and ride safe and be safe. And also the motorists. What the heck is a bicycle signal, and how do I have to follow it and abide by it? That is something that is important. So not only during the planning and design, but also helping to prepare the public with new features, and also keeping them engaged during construction, because no one likes to be slowed down on their commute to get into work or be inconvenienced. But construction does disturb things, and this project is going to be disruptive. But we want to certainly keep the community engaged as the construction proceeds. So with that, I'm going to turn this I think over to Dilesh, over to Chris. Excuse me.
Thank you. Sorry about the fire truck and the cars and it's always something. Does anybody have any questions for Randy? Good. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I see.
Thank you. Great presentation. I wanted to know if you could talk a little bit about the role of the Go Human campaign. I'm not sure if you were involved with that, but I think that was really important to be able to envision what ultimately would, I mean, San Pablo, for instance, would look like.
Yep, it was a tremendous. I wasn't at the city at the time, but we certainly benefited during the design and construction of the project from that Go Human introduction during the planning for San Pablo. We're discussing with SCAG the opportunity to bring the Go Human campaign into our ongoing outreach to the community to help educate folks about the new project, the new traffic signals that incorporate bicycles, and just to help reinforce, that all users, we need to think about all users for when it comes to safety and knowing how to negotiate whether it's class 1s, 2s, 3s, or 4 bikeways and what's that mean. So we do expect and hope that when we get closer to construction, which is going to be in early 27, that we will have an opportunity to actually partner with SCAG on Go Human.
Hi, yeah, great presentation. My name is Taylor Underberg. I actually went to college in Ohio, so I love seeing photos from south of Columbus, even though I'm from Southern California. I was curious about the bike stations, right? And you said one that was kind of traditional and then one got more artistic, kind of what that process was like collaborating either with the city of Columbus to not just go a purely functional route, right? And to have that art focus. I think it's more unique. It's easy to just go functional versus how do you actually have those conversations to prioritize the artistic things.
Good question. So that artistic bike shelter that I showed, leaders lead, and some of our downtown business partners had formed a special district for, say, keeping sidewalks cleaner. Well, the person that led that special district not only helped ensure that sidewalks were kept clean and swept in a downtown urban area, but also he said, well, let's also invest some of our proceeds from our property owners and help the city spruce up the downtown. So we had opportunity to choose either off the rack bike racks as one example I showed you, or go a totally different route and really turn up the volume on the uniqueness of the bike shelters. So it was led by somebody in the private sector, working with the city and working with the downtown businesses, and got them excited about, well, let's do something a little unique and add more placemaking to the downtown. And I think it was met with mostly favorable input, but art makes you think, and sometimes people think poorly about something, and whereas most people think goodly about art, but at the end of the day, it makes you think. And so I think it accomplished its goal, whether someone liked it or not. But it was fun to work with the special district and help make sure that they got through the city hurdles so they could install something a little more unique.
So Randy, you don't know what's going on here, but it's starting to rain. So everybody's kind of scattered, but we're outside the listening. What's the matter?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, man. Coming down a little bit.
I'm sorry it's raining.
Put a tablecloth over about it. Wait. Sorry. Wondering about that.
Doesn't say it's gonna be. It doesn't say it's mainly. It doesn't. Yeah. It's right.
Don't find your rock.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I didn't feel that. Well, I was soft. But you can't do it anyway. It's also. Find it everywhere. Look at this table. Okay. Before that, when. Yeah, it rained. It was everything. Can't believe it.
Yeah, like the night evening, you know? So the night you have.
Yeah, I am in. I'm the only one here today.
My husband, because they cover the TV.
I'm not even one, I'm in feed, okay. They get feedback. Oh, okay, let me say that. Is it better now? Yeah, let me exit here.
Okay, thank you. This is never a dull moment here at Webb, huh?
Yeah,
This is good stuff here. This is what memories are made of. Okay, so we can go to the first slide, please, Dilesh. Okay, so as Sandy was saying, I am Christopher Cichocki. I'm based in Palm Springs, and I kind of grew up in the Coachella Valley most of my life. Originally from a little town in Wisconsin called Sturgeon Bay. I was a transplant at the age of 10 years old into Palm Desert. And yeah, that was roughly a difference of 180 degrees if you want to kind of wind chill factor. So, yeah, as Sandy had mentioned, my work is really this intersection between the natural world and the kind of also industrial world that's surrounding us. This is a thing that, you know, people can kind of look at as something more of a contrast, but in my work, I really try to integrate, and this is where we're at. Like we are part of the industrial at this point. So let's try to integrate the work as much as possible. So the thought of this land art and the thought of light and space. Light and space is a movement that was started really in the Western desert. And light and space, going back to the 1960s, was really this art movement responding to the light throughout the day and the transition throughout the reflectivity, the shadow, all of these elements working with the perception of the actual sun or the night, and this kind of variation shifting throughout the day. So just to give a little context to my work, and then I'm going to talk about my involvement with the arts and music line and the great collaboration that we've had with Webb and CVAG over the past 5 years. But if we go back to Lesh, to that first slide, the first slide, please. There we go. Okay, so this is one of my pieces titled Inversion. And this is actually at my art center in Palm Springs. If you're ever in Palm Springs, I invite you. You're all welcome. It's by appointment mostly, and then we do have public events, workshops. I even do a student educational program called New Generation Arts. But this is a piece that was in a group show of 15 artists at my space going back to 2022. And as I said, the title is Inversion. And what we're looking at here is a 7-foot tondo, a circular painting that's actually made with organic elements of desert sand, barnacles I've excavated from the shoreline of the Salton Sea. But there's also a UV light on this. And the UV light was kind of transitioning from being completely at 100% and then going down to nothing. So if we go to the next slide, we can see that this is actually no lights on the piece whatsoever. This is phosphorescent residual energy. And so phosphorescence, I use this aggregate, and that's something I'm using in the arts and music line design. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But this is just the glow in the dark feature of the painting. And this will glow all night long. It's the highest grade aggregate of phosphorescence on the market. And phosphorescence comes from plankton, actually. And the thought of water is a reoccurring theme in my work. So there's obviously this kind of lunar thing happening. Everybody says it's like the moon, you know, but it's kind of ever changing. So if we go to the next slide, we see once again, we're back into the UV light. We go to the next slide. And then this is what it looks like in the daylight. It's actually very minimal. You know, actually, you just see the texture. You have no idea that these worlds, these dimensions of the UV and the phosphorescence exist in the daylight. So this is a good preface to really my design philosophy when I'm integrating things into a public space is how can we kind of complement the natural world, not dominate the surrounding environment of public space in the daytime, but then at nighttime we have this whole transformation and this whole opportunity to have more of a show. So going to the next and then going to the next. This is a piece that I was commissioned by invite with the Laguna Art Museum. I'm sure a lot of you have been to Laguna Art Museum. This was part of their Art and Nature program in 2024. I was their featured art and nature artist. And so this is on, of course, the beach here in Laguna. We go to the next slide. This is the opposite side of what you just saw. So going back previous, please. Yeah. So this side is coated actually with the phosphorescence. It's glowing in this capture here. And we see this kind of mint green happening. That's actually glowing right now. If it started off at the beginning of the day, it would look actually beige, and you wouldn't have any coloration. So you're seeing that phosphorescence glow. To the next. And then this side is the other face where this is the blackest black and the highest gloss. And so there's kind of light and space activity that happens with that. We start to see it kind of come in on this edge over here, this golden element. To the next, please. And then we start to see this bronzy reflectivity off that very high gloss happening at the sunset. Going to the next. And then it gets completely golden. Hence the golden hour, right? And so the fact that this is the blackest black and now it's completely gold because of this gloss, people go, how is this, from the distance of the shoreline, people were looking, it's like, did somebody put like a golden tarp over that piece? Like, what's happening? And it's just actually quite a simple illusion of reflectivity and the collaboration with the sunset. Going to the next, yeah, we see the interaction of it. And going to the next, then this is the opposite side, right? So this piece, well, the first piece I showed you is called inversion. This one is called rising inversion, right? And so it's scaled at 12 feet high, 40 feet wide. The center actually comes out 6 feet, and it tapers down to 18 inches. So it's a very subtle contour and bevel happening in its form. And this is glowing phosphorescence once again. This isn't lit. There's no video projection happening. This is the organic properties of that glow-in-the-dark phosphorescence at play. Next slide, please. Yeah, and we can kind of get the scale and the context a bit further here along Laguna. This piece actually just got acquired in the city of Palm Desert in their permanent public arts collection. So this will be installed in Ironwood Park coming up in January. And what I really like about this, don't spoil it, Dilesh. what I like about the piece is that it offers this sunset where people can actually go on a hike. In Ironwood Park, there's a trailhead, and it's kind of on the side of the trailhead. So this piece is going to be relocated within the desert landscape, and to kind of get people out, have a hike, get the exercise going, and see that glow, because it's that residual charge, that residual energy of the phosphorescence that's the most powerful right as the sun is setting. And then it'll glow all night long, but it's the strongest right as the sun is going down, right? Okay, and the next, aside from my background in painting and sculpture, I'm also a video artist and a sound artist. And Circular Dimensions is the ongoing performance series that I've done over the past decade, which has taken me international museums and festivals. And this is the same piece, but with my video projection, and we had a full array of audio activating as well. So it was a live audio-visual performance that about 600 people were showing up to for this one night only. Next, please. There's some really interesting glitch artifact here. I might have to just collaborate with that, I guess, today. Not sure what that is, but as we see the kind of organic water on top of the surface, this kind of composites of different bodies of water that I've layered into my video art. Next, please. Yeah. And then once again, more water happening. So my video is always this very organic collaboration. Like, I collaborate with things that are much bigger, much more powerful than me, hence nature and also the industry. Moving along, yeah, we can see another capture of that performance. So And this is just a one-night activation. You know, I like the idea that, you know, it can be activated maybe once a year or, you know, who knows, just one time and that's it. You know, but the idea that things are in this constant flux from at least like the day to night. This idea that it can be completely minimal and then, oh, wow, it's a glowing property. It's like there's a surprise. There's not something that's just fixed and like, okay, I've seen it, box check, move along, right? Okay. And then this is the piece that I made for the Coachella Festival, a little tiny festival, about 120,000 people show up to every weekend for 2 weekends in a row. And so, yeah, as you know, Coachella is not only a music festival, but it's the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival. And the large scale of art has really been amplified over the past 10 years with Paul Tillett and Paul Clemente raising the bar and saying, hey, we want to bring in some of the top artists and just not just make it, okay, we're kind of plopping art here and there. We want to make it more monumental, more architectural. And so this piece is titled Microscape, and it's actually constructed of PVC pipe and also steel structure to harness the PVC design. Moving along, yeah, as we see here, so essentially this PVC, there's 25,000 feet of it, and it was built in 16-foot modulars, and there was an interesting kind of mirage effect that would happen at the certain around sunset time. It almost like disappeared if you were looking at it from a distance, like, where's that piece? Where'd it go? And it just, because obviously this openness of the PVC 80-inch diameter, it literally disappeared in certain parts of the festival, depending on where you were standing. Next, please. There was a relationship with sound as well. I was doing a live soundscape every single day. I created a new kind of more atmospheric ambient composition. I was the first one out there on the field producing the sound, and that would play throughout the day. And then at nighttime, I did more of an electronic DJ set, just because that was the vibe in the night. But I actually hold the record for the longest performer in the history of Coachella. Every day for a minimum of, I think, of like 10 hours, and 2 weekends in a row, so do the math. But I collaborated with L Acoustics, and so this was a 57-channel surround sound, and this idea of sound spatialization. To give you an example, Dolby 5.0, Dolby 7.0 that we have in the movie theaters, these are sound spatializations versus our stereo left-right. I had Dolby 57.0. I had 57 addressable channels to work with in this piece here in collaboration with L Acoustics, and it was absolutely mind-blowing. I beyond words, can't explain it, but it was great. Moving along. Yeah, as we see, the PVC had this tapering, and so there was actually 12 feet down to 18 inches in the taper of the PVC. Moving along, yeah, we can see more of that tapering happening from this side here. Moving along. Yeah, and so this is the nighttime, you know, this completely night and day. There was a lot of people kind of talking online and Reddit chat rooms and things. It's like, I never saw that piece. I was there that year. How did it? Well, you weren't there at nighttime. You were over at that part of Coachella. So this idea of the video that was projected, of course, being my video art, but I never had the same thing again. It was always something new. So it's like every single moment in the night, it's completely different. That time passed, it would never be the same. And it was also positioned in the very center of the main stage in the outdoor theater. It was kind of like a vortex, a passage for the festival that a lot of people, you know, have this ritual all of a sudden of walking through every single set, you know, and just having this kind of entryway to their next show. Okay, this is a drone capture, bird's eye of the piece. Okay. Then once again, another still of the video activation. And moving along, another still here. This is me performing at night. That's me. Um, yeah, and so, and then, so this is a 12-foot painting. I call it a video painting. And inside of this is actually an LED wall. And so with this LED wall, I had a live feed of my video art, and on the other side, I had a live chemistry lab. So it's like a two-sided piece. And so people were using digital microscopes to magnify the chemistry of the desert on the other side of the piece. And this was me creating the sound on, the north-facing side, okay? Some resin cast aloe vera at night, and then going to the next slide in the daytime. So really, that shift of day to night, a lot of my work coming from the desert, I talk about this idea of the desert abyss. Where I live in Palm Springs, I'm standing on an ancient seabed, right? It's like millions of years ago, submerged as a sea. And thinking of the kind of origins of that desert and going back, the previous slide, Dilesh, thinking of this now as kind of a bioluminescence, or like a sea anemone or a starfish, right? And that evolution of the sea into the desert and so on. Okay, so moving along to the next. Oh yeah, forgot. And this is my space in Palm Springs. Once again, I invite you to come visit. It's The Elemental, theelemental.org. It's a contemporary center for the arts that I partnered with an organization from Paris, France. And we host contemporary exhibitions, workshops, lectures, film screenings, and student education for the arts. Next slide. This is currently up right now. This is my show, Primordial Waters. Next slide. Some detail of some of the paintings in the exhibition. Next slide. And then a whole immersive room dedicated to more the origins of water. So, and once again, the aloe vera. Okay, so the arts and music line. Dilesh and Webb Associates had a history of working with Coachella Festival and building a lot of the roads that were connectors to the festival. And Tom Kirk of CVAG was looking to have a very specific actual artist involved as the design of this project, the designer of the arts and music line. And the thought of this history with Coachella, Dilesh said, well, hey, does somebody from Coachella want to partner with Webb? And they go, well, Dilesh, we're kind of busy, doing Stagecoach, Coachella, all these concerts around. So, well, we know a guy. That guy was me. And so, the collaboration started in 2020. And these were kind of the foundation elements that I wanted to make sure were involved with the design of the project, okay? And so these are the concrete designs that are being implemented and kind of marking specific areas that are more kind of like major intersections and different kind of elements that kind of harness the path. So, for example, this sliver arc, can't pronounce my own terminology here, but the sliver arc is just every so often. It's maybe every 40 feet, and so I'm still on that path. So instead of doing a colored concrete all throughout, maybe in like a longer stretch, or even going away from the conventional stripe, I go, can we do something other than like just striping the road? Can I like have one color, two colors, and in the various lanes? Oh yeah, we could do that. Okay, cool. And then, okay, we can't do that all throughout. How many miles is it altogether? It's like 10. It's like a 10 plus. It's like, okay, maybe 2 miles you can do colored treatments, but 10 miles is a lot of Portland concrete, right? And so in the mix of the concrete, every so often you're seeing these little swatches, these little swooshes of design, and you go, oh, I'm still on the path. Okay, there it is. So these kind of simple identifiers, and then also next slide, we can see the sun arc design implemented here. And so just thinking too of like, well, the desert is always photographed from drones nowadays. Everybody has this technology, not everybody, but drone photography and just, you know, the idea of making something iconic. And it's like, wow, okay, now this simple street that was next to a Walgreens is like something, you know, that's published and iconic, right? Going along, these are a completely custom design that we've been working with the design over, yeah, it's been about 4 years in the making on this one, and we finally just got the prototypes in, and they look phenomenal. And so, yeah, these kind of sphere bollards, we have a concrete, and then we have this lensing, and the lensing with the LED lights is going to be addressable. So we can do a lot of interactive kind of choreographies along the pathway. Next, please. Yeah, and so we have the placement here, and so they can go into the magenta, into the cyan, into, well, not only that, but they can start chasing around the sphere. There can be a lot of different choreographies to this, and so part 2 of this is really to collaborate with the lighting designer and make sure that there's these kind of very organic scenes. We don't want flash and trash, you know, and there's a kind of a specific palette that I have in mind, even for like different cities. You know, it's like, oh, I'm in La Quinta now. Oh, I'm in Indio now. Here, I'm in Coachella. Moving along. And then once again, just the idea, instead of just having the striped divide in the 2-lane bike path, we can just have a darker concrete and then a lighter concrete. And it's just so much more minimal. And we can also put these inset LED lights as well, which will be in areas where, you know, people need to kind of really take note. Okay, there's a big intersection coming up. I got to slow down. Obviously, the visibility of the biker as well, the safety of the biker as well. In the desert, we need the safety for the biker. There's just a lot of just like, okay, press your luck, ride your bike. There's no bike lane. So this is going to not only provide safety to bikers, provide more exercise for the community, but I think it connects to about 26 schools altogether between the CV Link and the Arts and Music line. Go ahead. This is just another one of the visual renders that I've created for the park that's in the city of Coachella. Okay. And what I do is I take a drone photo, and then I place in you know, the computer graphics and try to get it as realistic as possible to what the reality is going to look like. Yeah, so these are all renders that are coming from my studio. Okay, and then once again, just kind of connecting into Coachella. Right now, there's no bike lane whatsoever connecting to this park. People are driving ridiculous speeds. This is going to save lives. Okay, and then this is like the highlight of the path in a way. It's just like the beginning of it. So on the edge of La Quinta in Indio, we have this channel. We have this wash that people will be greeted with music playing out of these columns here. And so the hope is that we can collaborate with Coachella, or, you know, we'll figure out Spotify or Pandora or whatever. Like, we want to curate this audio. We can even monetize it. It can be like a student project. I don't know. Like, but the idea is to have curated music playing through this, and especially during Coachella Festival, Stagecoach, we can kind of, you know, have the different themes. There's going to be thousands upon thousands of bikers coming in during those festivals, which is going to really help mitigate the traffic of the scenario, because otherwise you're relying on Uber or driving, and, you know, now it's like, oh, I'm going to ride that bike path right there. So going along, this is the night, and going along, we start to see this line here. This is a glow-in-the-dark line. And so this line will be activated, of course, with the sunlight and be glowing all night long. And then we have this circle here, which is an inset LED light, which will be a similar technology to the sphere ballers that I was showing you earlier. Moving along. Yeah. Yeah, they'll be about, it's a good like 1.5 mile span.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually this is a kind of previous render, but it'll start with the circle, and then at the end of the 1.5-mile span that goes through the channel, goes under a bridge, it'll end with another circle. So it's full circle. Okay, to the next. Yeah, there we go. That's a more specific kind of render. Okay, and the aggregate, it has this kind of mint look to it, and so it's like, how can we make it look not so choppy in the daytime? And so the idea is to really just make that line an analogous color to the aggregate, and so it just looks very uniform in the daytime. Going along, these we had them, and now they might be gone, but we're going to figure them out. These are amazing columns that can coordinate and sync and have this whole DMX chase scene happening, and to even stagger them, at certain heights, so it kind of has a mountain range flow, right? So a 12 foot, a 14 foot, a 16 foot, 18, 20, so on. And then, yeah, this I think would just be really, really iconic. So it was going to be positioned in 2 places, and now currently it's not going to be positioned anywhere, but we're going to get it back and figure out somehow. Okay, next. And then so aside from having this kind of day to night transition and this experience where you really just want to get on your bike and not only ride the path and have this safety, but you're experiencing something that's really kind of like a sculpture park in a way. Not all of it, but there are those little pockets where it's like, oh, this is really nice. This is pretty iconic here, right? And so what I've done is laid out the different areas throughout La Quinta, Indio, and Coachella to where I feel would be really great areas for more public art. They already all have their really robust public arts programs, but thinking of this as kind of a generational template, it's like, okay, this doesn't need to happen, the next year, next 5 years, but down the road, this bike path is designed with sustainability. So this is going to be up for the foreseeable, long term of it. And so the idea of having these sculptures, I think, would be phenomenal. You visit, say, a sculpture garden at a museum, well, now you've got a bike path and a sculpture garden, right? So this is a kind of even like phase 2 vision to maybe collaborate with the cities or figure out these other elements that can be placed. So with that, Mr. Dilesh.
You guys, I know we're running maybe a little bit late because of our rain issue, but I wanted to, not last but not least, I wanted to introduce Dilesh. He's our Director of Traffic and Transportation. Dilesh has always had a passion for traffic and transportation, whether planning circulation for communities or designing highways that connect people. With over 30 years of experience, he has led multidisciplinary projects for cities, agencies, and public and private clients, including complete streets, roundabouts, bridges, bikeways, and pedestrian facilities. His work is deeply rewarding because it helps build safer, more connected, and vibrant communities. Dilesh is committed to designing context-sensitive solutions that integrate all modes of transportation and improves how people move through their cities. Dilesh, thank you.
It's hard to go after Chris,
I know.
It's like engineers go after that. It's like, oh, let's make
Okay.
it. We'll make it like, instead of colorful, make it gray and So I just want to go over some of the engineering part of this project and some of the unique features we have. So, bicycle signals. So all the traffic signals within the project boundary, we're going to have the bicycle signals. So they'll provide a separate phasing for the bicycle, so people won't be able to make a right turn, because that's where the conflict happens. So we are installing bicycle signals to reduce the conflict and increase the safety. Sure. So some of the unique features is like what happens when they, like typically the bike lane is designed. It's like they really pay attention to in between the blocks, but at the intersection they give away, and then they mix the traffic with bicycle with the regular traffic. That's where majority collision happens, right? So we should not give up at the intersection. So what we have done, like as you can see here, so this path is two-way path on north side of Avenue 48. So majority of the path is a two-way path on the north side of Avenue 48 that goes from La Quinta, Indio to Coachella. So what we have done, we pushed the path back. So then if somebody's making a turn here, then they're able to stop and yield with the bicycle as well. So, we want to make sure that it makes the intersection safer as well. Plus, this they are pedestrian and bicycle crossing at the same level as sidewalk. So it's going to be a little table. So all the vehicles have to slow down to go up and around that. So we're making it much safer for the bicycle and pedestrian. Next slide. Then protected intersections. We probably haven't seen it much here locally, but I'm sure we'll see them. So we have 5 different intersections with this project has protected intersection. So we're installing this little channel island here. So the pedestrian and the bicycle, they pull out further and the crossing distance gets smaller, right? And plus, if vehicle has to make the turn, they have to really slow down because they cannot, make fast turn. So it's just, we try to make it safe for the pedestrian and bicyclists, plus we're separating both traffic as well. So this is one of the Christopher's rendering. So this is what it would look like at one of the intersections at Dune Palms and Avenue 48. So this is where we have a two-way path and becomes one-way path on the north side that Christopher was talking about, the different colors and the lights in the pavement versus the sun arc and some of the artwork here. Next slide. This is what it would look like in the nighttime with the lights. So CVAG really set up a high goal for us regarding this project, and they just want to make sure that project just looks unique, not just a typical project that we would do. And Christopher has done a great job. Plus, we have on our team the good electrical engineer out of San Diego, visual concept, amazing guys. So, whatever he came up with, Christopher, they made it happen. They did so much work to work with the manufacturers to get the lights, really built, customized. Next slide. So some of the challenges with this project, engineering challenges, budget, regulatory, public, skepticism, maintenance, durability. So I'll just go a little bit brief on those, some of the challenges. So this is the one that Christopher was talking about, those 2 circles at the end. So this starts at Avenue 48, this path, and connects to CV Link to the north about 1.5 miles. So it crosses 2 bridges, like Jefferson and Highway 111. So this is Indio and La Quintas on that side. And so this right-of-way belongs to Coachella Valley Water District. And they really didn't want us to go under the bridges because of safety reasons, because this channel, if it's get flooded, they think that, it's a valid concern, right? That in case there is water in the channel, then it could be a safety issue and they take the liability for it. So they set up the high bar for us, like hey, you have to keep the water 100-year flow out of this channel. So, so this channel cross section you see right here, and we are encroaching into that. So we're reducing the capacity, and actually the flow is getting like higher. The water level will go higher. It rises about 1 foot. Luckily, the channel has enough capacity. So about 100-year flow is about 4,000 CFS, but channel capacity is about 7,000. So there is enough capacity, just have to make it work. So we had to propose the retaining wall and the wall on top of it to keep the water out, And so we worked with Christopher and so we had to really sell it to not just CVWD, but the local safety officers, like, police, fire, we met with them, we got the input, make sure they buy off on that, because safety is a big issue, right, everywhere, especially when you go under the two bridges, and when you cross these bridges as diagonally, it's like longer spans, so it gets dark. So some of the things we've done to how to like convince people and see what's gonna look like. So the next slide. Play the video. I'll just play a quick video. So this is you going north, and you're gonna go under the bridges. So these are some of the lights that Christopher came up with that we're implementing as well along the project. So CVAG does not want to just like, this is like out of the way. They just want to make sure it still looks better, like it just looks as a one project, not just give up and don't do anything with that. So this is a glow in the dark stripe as well. And now we're gonna go under the bridge. This is some of like a safety phone call, like, you can call for the safety, as you can see down here in the bridge. So the water is gonna, like, if it's 100-year flow, it's gonna about a foot lower than the top of the wall. And there's gonna be some water coming in here during the flow, but like when water recedes, we're gonna have like a little outlet that will get the water out. From, right. So as you can see, that this is what it's gonna look like when it's done. Next slide. So next thing is that some of the circular form crosswalk that we had proposed, but then some of the regulatory constraints, we cannot have lights in the crosswalks. The MHTC doesn't allow it, right? So we kind of had to work around it. Plus we have bicycle symbols and other things. So we could have made it work, like as long as we kept, like Randy was mentioning, 12 inches on outside and you can do whatever inside. But then we completely dropped that idea and just went with the traditional here, but like we focus on away from the intersection. So sometimes regulatory constraints that you great idea, but maybe dial it down because of regulatory constraints. The thing, like, this is federally funded project, so it has Build America, Buy America Act. So and especially all these lights, LED lights, mainly made in China, right? So it has to take so much effort to really find local manufacturers. Some of them actually have to make them here. So our electrical sub-consultant really worked closely with the manufacturer and came up with that to make those, all the units you will see on this project. They get it. So it's going to meet the Buy America, Build America requirements. The total budget of the project, we started with like $50 million. It's now about $80 million. Just cost has gone up as well. Plus, scope has gone up as well. So totally about $36 million is funded by federal grants, and others going to be the local, and there is some other grants CVAG is up by as well. So as far as the art, it's all like $10 million. So you can see how much art work going to be involved. Usually some of the projects art is an afterthought and not included and has lower budgets on it, but this one is very art focused budget on it. So as you can see, we are spending over $10 million on art. So some of the things we want to make sure that we have buy-off from our stakeholders. So we had demonstration for some of the art that's Christopher came up with, make sure that whatever we have, specified that meets the standards, and make sure the cities and everybody okay with that. So this is a city's Indio yard that we rented, or not rented out, but they let us use it, and we did a couple of test runs to see how it works. So it's good to do incorporate demonstration and make sure you can buy off from all the stakeholders before it actually go off to bid. Next slide. This is we did the demonstration for lighting as well. So if you procure lighting, so I think we spent almost like $60,000 to just procure lighting for this project, for the demonstration, because we are specifying unique lighting, like if the column you see here, plus all the sphere bollard, like it almost weighs about 400 pounds, so it's a concrete structure, but I think but this is just made from foam, but it's going to be ultimately concrete, and we'll have a graffiti resistance and all that. So Christopher was there, all the stakeholders were there, and they did the programming, and we actually looked at the lights in the nighttime, see how it's going to look, and there was some minor adjustment we had to make sure, the shine and everything just kind of matches uniformly. Other thing is the maintenance, and because sometimes this bike lane are narrower, and then you will see some of the bike lanes, like you see dirt and non-usable. But like from day one, when we had the bus tour, Tom Curran with CVAG said, like, do not do anything that based on what you have today. And he's right. Like now you see a lot of sweepers smaller, because some of the skepticism from engineers were there in the bus. I don't think so. The sweeper can go in between the space because it's too narrow. But now there are so many small sweepers that they go and clean this area as well. And we provided a break in this barriers as well, so the water can go through, plus the sweepers can go through and get out as well. The takeaway, being the art conversation at the project inception, right? So just talk art, not afterwards, just beginning of the project. Treat art as a part of the design system. So, as you can see, this art is part of the design. It's not an afterthought. And, some of the thing, just engage communities, be pragmatic, right? Whatever the budget you have. And other things like durability. And we really focused on durability and life cycle as well for these products. Make sure, because Coachella Valley gets pretty hot, and because a lot of sun. So Christopher and everybody really paid attention to make sure it will stand up for years in that environment as well. So with that, Christopher and I are here for any questions you might have.
I believe this project crosses multiple jurisdictions, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
How did you or CVAG sort of initiate the conversation between the different cities? And then as far as maintenance goes, I think there's a lot of lighting and stuff like that. Are the cities in agreement as far as if a light bulb goes out, they'll take responsibility for covering the repair? Or how did you guys navigate just the initial conversation, but two, the conversation leading up once it's under construction and maintenance of the art mile?
Yeah. So I think Coachella Valley cities are very cooperative to each other. And then so I think first thing when CVAG came up with concept, this arts and music line is part of, so CV Link is a big thoroughfare, more like a freeway, and this arts and music line feeds into the big thoroughfare here, right? So when they came up with concept, city was in agreement that, hey, they need this arts, some kind of facility that's going to connect to CV Link and plus connect the community as well. So they had a buy-off on it. And in the CVAG, 75% cost is paid by CVAG and 25% by the city. So each city pays their portion of the 25%. Okay? So initially, when we submitted the application, so they had meetings with the city and they all board with it, the concept, and that what they want to do with this project, we meet periodically and PDT meetings, so we have all the cities and tribes at that meeting. As far as the maintenance costs, so currently the plan is City of La Quinta will maintain their part, India will maintain their part, Coachella will maintain their part. If it's along the channel, it's going to be maintained by CVAG. So Randy has done a good analysis based on the current project CV Link, that how much electrical bill will be, how much to change the bulb, all that. So he has done some math and come up with the initial costs, that what will be the city responsible. I think one thing we want to do with this project, because these are unique lights and things that we're going to, so when we do this project, we're going to procure and have them in stock, so you don't have to wait 5 months, 6 months to get those replaced if we get damaged. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. As in, I work at UC Riverside. We'd love to do something like this, but it always comes down to anytime you do something that's so bespoke and you're looking at the built environment, we want it to be there for the next 50 years, right? Like, what if your manufacturer for that light, that very bespoke light, goes bankrupt in 5 years? Like, you have a certain amount of attic stock, right? But what is the thought in terms of like long-term replacement over the lifetime of the project? Has any like thought been put into that?
Yeah, I think so. One thing that we want to make sure that they don't hold the pattern. So that design is not patterned. So we can go to any manufacturer and get that built, right? It may take a little bit longer or cost more money initially, but the goal is we do not want anybody to have that pattern over this thing to avoid the situation you're talking about. So in case, let's say that manufacturer goes bankrupt, we have to find another manufacturer and we give the same design to them to manufacture that. So I think that's how we are addressing that issue. Christopher, anything in that to that?
Well, yeah, and the idea too of having those redundancies, and as Dilesh mentioned, each city has like this overstock, a couple things go out, but ultimately, if it's LED technology, you're looking at 5-7 years max right now. That's where like the most sustainable of the technologies are at. Hopefully in the future it can be even longer, but yeah, the fact that it's our design, my design, our design, yeah, we can essentially just do bids with different manufacturers and get it to spec.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, as far as from the design scope, were there any thought into implementing any solar panels or anything to drive or the cost or lower the cost of any of the energy being produced from the project or anything sustainable? I'm just curious.
Yeah, lights.
We do have a huge line item of our solar markers.
Okay.
And so, and the solar markers, I mean, yeah, 100% solar.
Okay. I was just,
Which otherwise would just be a huge infrastructural, investment as well. And so, with the other lights, unfortunately, we don't have the kind of, say, rooftop or compartmentalized zones along this path. I mean, a lot of it is relatively open road, open desert, and then we, replacing this path. And so, if it was more, in like, say, a metropolitan area, you could conceal maybe some solar on a specific rooftop, work out some type of plan with somebody to roof across the street. Okay, that's where you're getting all your solar from.
Right.
The desert, you can't just have good things laying around like that sometimes.
Right.
So that's.
I was just curious.
I started with that thought process, and unfortunately we can't do it 100%. But at least we have the markers, which are a huge line item.
I know with the state, there's poles that have isolated solar panels on each one for call boxes and things of that nature. So I wasn't sure if any thought was given to any of the light posts along the path to have a solar panel or some sort to offset the cost, right? Because cost of electricity, right?
Yeah, well, the thing too is beyond just, say, a regular fixed LED light, we have the server.
Right.
Because this is a DMX program, and there's that alone is a huge thing that needs consistent power. You just need a little more stability with that type of sensitivity. If it was just fixed light, we could probably figure out some solar solution, but it's a little more sensitive than this.
Just curious. Thank you.
For sure.
Anybody else? Okay, because I know we're probably running out of time, and I know people have probably got to get back. So I just want to basically tell everybody, thank you so much for coming. Sorry about the rain. I had no idea. Somebody said, I think it might be gonna rain here. I was like, no, I'm not even gonna think about it. And then here we are. But I did want to say thank you both very much, and to Randy also. I think they did a great job. Just a shout out to our Webb team, Susie, who helps us, Susie, Rosie, our IT guys who are running around like crazy, Mike, who got us all set up, and Natalie, who keeps me sane. And so anything, I just want to say thank you, and then to APA for putting this on. So, Robert, do you want to say anything?
I just want to say thank you again, and I want to give another round of applause to Webb for hosting us. For those who don't know, I'm the programs director with the section, so we want to put on more programs. I guess if you have an idea, have some business cards, reach out to me, and we'll coordinate something. So thank you for everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, one last thing, I'm sorry. We are going to be sending out resources,
Oh, yeah.
so slides, videos, and all that stuff, so you guys can
Who's
refer
gonna
back
take
to that.
Thank you.
I think you'll give it to somebody.
Camera?
Hey, presentation, thank you. Chris, great work.
Hey, appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're working on the English part. We're taking a movie called Robots.
Yeah.
But I guess.
Oh, they're there.
Oh, they're moving to the park?
Oh, the park too?
Yeah, we're moving to the park. I guess we're gonna use them for Coachella.
Oh, because they're replaced now.
Yes.
Yeah, they look great.
Chris?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Pleasure to meet you.
There we go.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Let me find out. Are we just gonna stay in here? Should we go back?
This year he helped out. So he's in the artwork, put it on the plans. He's an amazing artist too. He does a good job. He's a landscape architect. His brother was an engineer. So it's
Were we on call?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, that's changed 5 years.
Church back to the living room?
Yes, probably should. Yes.
Yeah.